Oh, I just did a stupid. Hi everyone, my name is Angie and this is me, my natural habitat. Today we are attempting something a bit more ambitious. So I got myself into the whole custom keyboard and we are gonna build a custom keyboard cable today. So I've got a lot of parts on my table right now and I will try and go through every single one of them. So first of all, you need your cable material if you want to build a cable. So I've got this coil. This is the 4-core 28 AWG cables, which just means that it's slightly more flexible and bendable compared to like a lower number of lower number in the model. Or at least that's what I heard. So we've got this. I've got the paracord. I've got two kinds of them. So what I'm going to do is I'll be using one color for the part that connects the device to the aviator connector, and another color for where the aviator connector goes to the keyboard. I will not be doing a coil because I don't think I need that coil and it's honestly just for aesthetic purposes. So I won't be doing that. This particular one is actually glow in the dark. So interesting to see how that turns out. Now I did try to put it under the light for a bit and it did have a little bit of glow. So it'd be interesting to see how this looks like after everything is done. I've also got myself some tag flags. So I've got the white tag flags here, which is what I'll be using for my cable. Because I do have a aesthetic build that I want to achieve. So a lot of white, a lot of blue maybe. Yeah, so I got this. And what else do I have? I've got the connectors. So I will be doing a cable that's USB-C to USB-A. So these are the connectors here, as well as the aviator connector. This one, I actually got a few. So I've got a white one, I've got a black one, and then I've got this blue one. But this one kind of came in like a strange lilac color, which doesn't suit any of my cables. So I probably won't be using this unless I aim to build myself another cable, which I might actually. So this will be set one side, or if I do screw something up, I might use the spare parts. But yeah, so today we'll be using a white one. This is a build for a new keyboard that I'm doing. And that keyboard has like a white and blue color built to it, which is why all the accessories that we are seeing today are all of that range of colors. I've got myself a cardboard box here because I'm working off a mouse mat and we are going to be soldering, so I don't want to burn the mouse mat, which is why I have this. Yeah, I do not have a proper workstation, clearly. So this is what I'm making do with. And then I have to mention, I bought this for $2. It's a mini vise. So this part will clamp down to whatever connector I need. And I will be using this to hold the connectors while I solder them. It's $2. So yeah. It's completely made of plastic, a little bit flimsy, but I think it gets the job done, holding something small in place. So yeah, let's get started. I will try to walk you through what is happening or what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm also trying to figure it out myself. So if you want to attend something like this, I suggest like go and read up or watch some YouTube videos on the how-tos, and get yourself familiarized with what you are supposed to do, what you're supposed to, what to look out for, what to avoid, the kind of thing. So I will try my best to walk through the steps, but I will not be the most accurate source of information. Yeah, so first of all, I want the connector that comes from the PC to the host, roughly about 1.5 meters long. Now you want to cut with some slack at the end, just in case you need to cut them shorter and resolder them. So this is about 1.5 meters, and then I will need about 1.5 meters of these. So we'll do it side by side, and we'll tackle the part that comes from the device first, which is the part that connects to your computer. So for that, we'll be using a USB-A connector. The ones that I got from online is a little bit thicker than the normal cable. So certain things to look out for when you want to build yourself this kind of cable is the connectors that you buy. What is the diameter of the hole where the cable is supposed to come out from? So for this one, this is actually a 6mm wide, 6mm diameter, which means it's gonna be a little bit too big because my cable is only 4mm. Even with the paracord and tech flex, it might not increase that much. So what I got is these little connectors that basically will sit inside with the cable, and this will also help keep the cable in place. You're also advised to get heat shrink to cover up your solder once you're done, otherwise that area of your connector is conducting electricity, and if it touches the outer exterior of your connector and your connector happen to conduct the electricity, you might short something. Alternatively, if you don't want to get into heat shrink because you might not have a heat gun or something like that, you can also go for hot glue, which will also help to strengthen the soldering joint as well. You should never let the solder be the only thing that is keeping your connector and your cable together. There will be a high chance of that coming off if that is all that is keeping the connection together. So you should always add something else on top of that. So first things first, let's run the cable through the paracord. So the kind of paracord I got is the 7 core one, so you should be able to just pull the threads inside your paracord out and then just pull it off. This particular one has this side melted down, so you might want to just remove that. And done. And these ones, honestly, if you don't have a use for it, just throw it away. I don't foresee myself needing this at all, other than maybe making cat toys, so I might keep mine. Then next, here comes a little annoying part. You need to thread your cable through the paracord. So one way to make your life easier is you might want to melt down one of the cut open end of the paracord first, so that it doesn't fray even more as you are threading your cable through. Be careful not to burn them close though, so just melt it down so that it doesn't keep fraying when you're trying to thread your cable through. And then once you are done, you can start sending your cable in. It might get stuck, but as your paracord has this like weaved pattern, you just need to push and pull. So push it in, then pull out the other side. This will be the slightly more time-consuming part of this whole thing. Although once you get a hang of it, it should be quite fast to do. So you just have to make sure that you don't lose your cable. Alright, and once that is done, let me keep my cable elsewhere first. The next step is the tech flex. You want to put all this on your cable first because after this you want to put on the connectors. And if you don't do this part first, it's going to be very hard to get the connectors, to get it done once your connector is on. So you want to get this part settled first. Now this is the slightly annoying part. So just squish it down and then feed your cable through. And then once the whole tech flex is over your paracord, you should be good to go. Now once you got that through, you can see that my ends are completely frayed. At this point, just pull it taut. Make sure that it goes through all the way to the end of your cable. And mine needs to go down a bit more. Alright, so this is what it looks like now. This part I will have to remove. This is why you always cut your cable with a little bit more slack, so that when you don't have enough of something, when you need to remove them, you are still able to do that. So the next step is getting on the connectors. So it depends on which side you want to start with first. In my case, I think the USB is gonna be a lot harder to solder than the aviator connector. So I will do up the USB side first before doing the aviator side. It's helpful if you have like a cable cutter, something that gives you like measurements, and use that to help you to strip down the outer shielding of the cable. For this particular cable it has this like metal shielding inside. This one you can just remove if you have like a 4-core aviator connector like mine. Otherwise, if you have a 5-core and if you want to connect this up, you can, although it doesn't really do much. It will probably act like a earth wire. So me being OCD, I sleeved and re-sleeved this cable multiple times because OCD. So now we're moving on to adding the connectors to our cables before we solder any of them. So I've added this little rubber sleeve already on one side of the cables. So this is what will keep my cable in place in this hole. So this is what's basically making the cable a little bit thicker, so that this pot will clamp down on the cable, and it's not like it doesn't have too much wiggle room when the cable's in the connector itself. So that is on the USB side. Now on the aviator side, I will have to sleeve this through the cable first before I can add the connector. So let me just unscrew this. So the color that I will be following for this will be black, white, yellow, and red. That is the arrangement that I'm gonna go for. Once you got your cable stripped, that took me a surprisingly long time to do, you want to prep your connector. So what you want to do is get your solder. So you want to put the solder on the connector first instead of like trying to solder the wire and the connector together at the same time. It's easier to control if you just have the solder on the connector properly first. And that also prevents any like if let's say your hand slipped or something and now you have solder running across two connectors, it gives you the option to use a solder pump and remove those before moving on to the next step. I've actually never done soldering before, so this will be new. So once your soldering iron is heating up, you would see a red light. So once that's on, just be careful with it. Put it in a place whereby it will not burn anything. In my case, I'm just going to leave it on top of the cardboard box. So you want to have your solder. I do have a solderer flux, or you could use a sponge to clean your soldering iron in between your solders. So I'll be using a soldering flux. Make sure you are in a well ventilated room, because the fumes can be quite overwhelming. So just make sure that your area is nicely ventilated, or otherwise maybe wear a mask to protect yourself. So once that's done, you want to line up your cables. So in my case, it will be black, white, red, and yellow. So typically for USB cables, the layout is ground, data plus, data minus, and then your voltage. So power. I would want to assign black to the ground, and I will use white and yellow for my data and red for the live, because typically that's your live wire anyway. Now I think I got it down. Not the best soldering job. Data one is the one that is making me question myself. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can do anything about it. But otherwise, I guess that's what we gonna work with. I do have a second USB-A connector that I can use for backup if I need it, but I'm hoping that I don't. Okay, I think it's better this time. I just like moved it a little bit. I think it's okay. I probably will only know once we plug it in. So I'm just gonna leave it as is first. Next, we will move to the aviator cable, the aviator connector. This will be a little bit easier because each side, each connector has its own sleeve basically. So like the chances of it touching each other is heavily reduced. So this will make life a lot easier. Okay, this one is done. Now the good thing about the aviator cable, right, is that they actually marked it out for you, port 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in a anti-clockwise direction from the top left corner. So how that's gonna connect out will be 1 is for ground and 4 is for the live wire. So 2 and 3 will be the data cables. So that's the arrangement that I'm going for now. Okay, now once I'm at a comfortable spot to close it up, what I'll do is I'll use the hot glue to cover this part of the solder. So the OCD in me has spotted that I connected this rubber connector in the wrong direction, so I'm redoing this whole cable. Okay. The soldering this time was a lot better, I think, compared to the last one. So it should be all good. Yep. So now let me get my hot glue. Now I'm using hot glue as insulator for the solder. You can use electrical tape, heat shrink, as long as you have some form like a protective barrier between the soldering joints and the exterior of your connector. That should be good. So in my case, I'm using the hot glue because first of all I have access to one, and also it feels like a little bit stronger grip compared to, for example, a heat shrink, whereby it's just covering your soldering joints instead of actually being another form of like adhesive to hold it in place. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm going for the hot glue. So while waiting for this to heat up, let me fit it in the correct position so I can close this up finally. This side of the connector is done. I also did just realize that I do not need this rubber stopper because with the paracord and the tight flex, it has gotten a little bit too thick with the rubber stopper, but it's a bit loose without. So I'm kinda stuck. I mean, alternatively, what I can do is I just shave down the rubber stopper a little bit to make it a bit thinner so that I can still use it. And that might be what I end up doing, but I basically just roughly put the connector in place for now, and we'll work on the other side because I won't know if this cable works until I've got everything done. So let's work on that now. So part two is aviator connector to my keyboard, and the length that I want it to be will be the length of a full-size keyboard. So the full-size keyboard is roughly about this much. So adding a bit of buffer, maybe about here. Yeah, here should be good enough. And the same thing we are repeating with the paracord. So this time round we are using the one that glows in the dark, which will be quite interesting. So this is quite a short cable. Those on. And okay, for the male connectors, what you must take note is to make sure that your pin lines up. So earlier on we did 1 2 3 4 in the 1 2 3 4 in anti-clockwise starting from the leftmost side, but now because you're connecting to the female connector, the pins need to line up. So now it will be 1 2 3 4 in a clockwise direction, facing the back where you are soldering. So when you connect it, when you view it from the pin's end, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 in the anti-clockwise direction, which will line up with the female connector. So as long as you remember how you configured your cable on the female side, your male side should follow, or either or, whichever side you are starting with first. So in my case, I started off the female side, so now we are on the male side, and my ground is always number 1, and my live cable is always number 4, and in between you'll be data positive and data negative, so those will follow accordingly. Okay, both cables are done. Ta-da! And ta-da! Still not happy with this, but let's do a very quick test. See whether this cable is working at all. I'm actually not sure how I want to test this because the only USB-C device I have is my iPad, and that's a very expensive piece of equipment to break. Yeah, so my mouse is USB-C. Maybe we can try that. Now, first things first, will I trip my house? That is the $1,000,000 question. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's charging. It's charging. Let's see. It's charging. Okay, it works. Alright, so let me fix what I want to fix in this cable, and we'll come back. And good thing that I'm deciding to add the rubber stopper because the tech flex just came out. So let me redo that and resolder this side of the aviator connector, but it has been really promising and I'm actually really happy that it works. It just need to fix this small thing, and let me do that very quickly. I am finally done. A lot of learning points. First of all, make sure you have ample slack on your paracord and tack flags. Second, use tape. I only had masking tape and it was like a really old masking tape, so it was leaving a lot of residue. So I didn't really want to use it, but my goodness, having tape would have made life so much easier. Third thing, if you are doing one of these like aviator things, it's better to get this side done first, partially because this one is just so straightforward compared to the USB side. So once you get the aviator side done, secure everything, tie it down, make sure the tab flags and the paracord is no longer moving, and then push everything to the other end and then terminate the other side. So that would have made things so much easier for me. I started off from the USB side because I thought that's more complicated, right? So if I were to mess up something, I wouldn't have like wasted a whole ton of effort with the aviator. But the aviator was so easy, I might as well could have started from there. Next thing is double, triple, quadruple check your cable before you do any form of soldering. I've like unsoldered and soldered the aviator like about 100 times by now, because every single time I make some changes, I take it out and then I forget to put the connector head back inside. So yeah, just check your work before you move on to something that is slightly more permanent. So everything is done now. This is the part of the cable that connects to the keyboard. So it's about the size of a full-length keyboard, just slightly longer. The size of a full-length keyboard is about here. Yeah, this is about the size of the full-length keyboard. So this is a little bit longer. And then the other half of the cable, which is over here, this is the one that is going to connect to the computer. And ta-da! 2 coils of cable. Very nice. I quite like the color. I like the fact that it's a little bit see-through because I'm using white tack flags. So I don't see, the color is not so in your face. So comparing this, so these are the ones with tack flags, right? Versus the original cables, which are hidden in a bundle of mess at this point. So the blue looks like this. Very big difference. And then the pink is over here. So quite a big difference, but I kind of like how these subtle color comes out from underneath the tack flags. So that's nice. My table is also in a mess that I need to clean up now. So I do have some spare connectors, which I might try making them into. So I have one more set of USB-C and USB-A. So the connectors are a little bit different for this one, so not so fancy. These ones are the extremely fancy ones. So these are not so much. These are more simple. It should get the job done nonetheless. So I might make one more set of cable, just like it's like a fancy charging cable or something. But yeah, and I also got myself some micro USB heads, but I have a feeling that these connectors are way too small. So like this might not fit my cable at all. So we shall see about that, and I might do some more of this in my own free time. I still have quite a bit of cable and paracord left. So I might try that, and probably also buy myself a few more sets of these connectors so I can create more. Maybe like a USB-C to C, USB-A to C, like one full cable, USB-C to micro. Like I might do myself like a full set of these in my own time. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content today, and I will see you in the next video.